In today's Webflow Wized and Xano tip, I am going to be focused on a Xano tip. And it is one that I wish that I knew from the beginning because it would have made things so much easier for me. And I'm sure you may have run into this as well. And it seems so simple after you learn it, but it can cause hours and hours of headache. And that is the use of the GET filter. So let's get started. So we have here a Airtable base. And in this base, this is to add new releases for artists. And as you see, there's the title, the artist's name, there's buy links and listen links. And we're also going to pay really the attention we're going to pay is to this column here, the Country Everywhere member. It means they're already a member of Country Everywhere, so there might be something that we can pair them up to later. So the problem with this table as it exists is if we send it into Xano, we're going to run into failure. And that is because if you send empty fields to Xano, then they will fail because it's expecting a certain schema, JSON, from your database to go into Xano in their database. And it's pretty common actually with most API calls. If data is missing, especially a field doesn't exist, then it can break your API call. And so that is what we're going to take a look at today and how to get around it. So let's just take a quick look at the steps that we're doing. Do I have a stop and debug here? I'm just going to put that on. And what we're going to do is we're going to change this to API 1 because we want to check to see what our stuff is. So this is an API from Airtable that's going to pull in the records from our particular table. Simple, straightforward, and we've got a stop and debug attached. So let's run and debug it and see what happens. So here we go. I have all my, this is straightforward. I have all my records. There's nothing that is being paired here, so it's just going to pull everything in. Now, if we take a closer look at the record, though, you'll see that this item, this first record, has a buy link, has a listen link, and has this Country Everywhere member true. But if we go to the second record, so we see a listen link, but there's actually no buy link. And as you notice, it's missing completely from the schema. And there's also nothing that says anything about them being a Country Everywhere member. And then actually very similar here. So we have a buy link and a listen link, but also no member. So if we send this, even this simple stack to Xano's backend, it will fail. And I'll show you quickly what that looks like. So what we're doing here, I've got my stop and debug. I'm just going to turn that off right now. We have a for each loop. So for each API response as the record, we're of this array, we're splitting it to each item, which is a new release, and then we're going to do all these things to it. Main thing that we're going to focus on here is the add record. So I'm just going to, I think, yes. So I'm going to just delete that real quick. As you see, we've actually applied these get filters, but I want to show you what happens when it doesn't work. Let's just make sure the database is empty. It is. And let's do a quick run and debug. So we're getting a different input error than I got before. there was a var error here before. But regardless of what error we have, so we have one item that seems to have gone through, and then it says a code input error. You may get a var not existing or can't find. This is a different error. But if we get rid of that, the reason it's happening is because of what I showed you. So what we need to do now is in this add record, we're going to add this get. And so we've already we have dot notation going all the way down here. So if you see here, we've got this new release fields title. We're not doing anything to that because every entry must have a title. So things that are specifically, you don't have to do this for every single one, but for things that might be missing, you might want to use this simple get filter right away on it to be able to manipulate that data right away. So what this does, for instance, we have it here applied with the by links and the listen links in case either of those don't exist in the data. And what we're doing, and we're just going to do it here, is we have our new release fields, which is based on this for each loop. And so if we put a get filter here, we're going to match up with, I guess it's important to kind of show what this is. We're matching up with this field here. So country everywhere, country underscore everywhere member. So this is the path. So normally we would just hit the dot notation and we would put that in. But what we're actually doing here is we're saying get this path and the default make it null. So we're giving a value so that there is something in there so that it won't error out because it can't find the field. That's ultimately what we're doing. And then if there is a value, it will overwrite it. So we're just going to update this. And as you notice, we don't add this path into here, like this release date or release type. We don't have a dot notation here. We're actually pulling it back and we're getting it from this get filter. So if we do this, I'm just going to save that real quick. We have this query all records going again. I am going to, we've deleted that already. Let's just run in debug and run. And we have success. So our function stack has worked. We've gotten a response. This is our response. Our response is all three of these items are now put into our database. So I'm going to do a quick database here. We see it's here, and we notice that even the ones that don't have a by link, they're there. Everything has a listen link, but this one that we were concentrating on as well, they're set to null. So they do have a value that can be recognized. And then all of our function doesn't, and our API call doesn't break. So hopefully that was kind of a helpful thing. It's something I wish that I understood right from the beginning, because I think it will save you like hours, if not days, of figuring out why something isn't working. And it will eliminate a ton of problems right off the bat by being able to use this get filter effectively. Hope that helps.